Ezekiel 32 to 34. We've heard back in Ezekiel 18 that Ezekiel was called to talk to the people living in Babylon, but really stress the individual nature of their righteousness. So in 33 now, verse 8, he talks about the wicked man who will die in his iniquity. And then 33:11, say to them, as I live, says the Lord God, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. So the call from Ezekiel seems to be that within the people living in Babylon, God is still looking for individuals to turn from their evil way and to worship Yahweh. This repeats themes back in Deuteronomy 24:16. A person shall be put to death for his own sin. Jeremiah 31:30, but everyone shall die for his own iniquity. So a very individual call going on or repeated now in Ezekiel. But let's look at Ezekiel 34, verse 2. Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Back in Jeremiah 50, we heard about these shepherds who seem to be prophets that are telling the people of Israel how to live. Prophesy against the shepherds of Israel and say to them, woe to the shepherds of Israel who feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? Verse 6, my sheep wandered through all the mountains and on every high hill. Yes, my flock was scattered over the whole face of the earth, and no one was seeking or searching for them. Verse 10, thus says the Lord God, behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my flock at their hand. So he is upset with how these prophets have told the people of Israel, oh, you can worship any god you want, or the gods of Babylon, or something like that. He's against these shepherds. And what will God do about the situation? 34 verses 11 and 12. Thus says the Lord God, I myself will search for my sheep. So God is clear that he, Yahweh, will initiate searching among his people, his flock, for his sheep. I will search for my sheep and seek them out. As a shepherd seeks out his flock on the day he is among the scattered sheep, so I will seek out my sheep and deliver. And then in the end, verse 14, what's the final goal? I will feed them in good pasture, and their fold shall be on the high mountains of Israel. There they shall lie down in a good fold and feed in rich pasture on the mountains of Israel. The picture of the new creation is always interesting in the latter prophets, just the picture of peace and safety. And here it would be sheep living, feeding in a nice pasture. 34:17, behold, I shall judge between sheep and sheep, between rams and goats. So the picture coming out of Ezekiel 34 is that God will someday, because of his frustration with the current shepherds of Israel, he will be the one who will search among his flock and divide between sheep and goats. Well, how will God do this? What do we mean by the word I? 34 verses 22 and 23. Therefore I will save my flock. Now that word is the standard word for yasha, it's for salvation in the Old Testament. I will save my flock. I will establish one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them, my servant David. Now we've met this situation before. David is long gone. So what we mean by David here would be the slot that was created by David, the anointed king, the intended king of Israel. That is how he will do it. My servant David, he shall feed them and be their shepherd. So this person, yet to come it seems, will be the one who will be doing this for Yahweh. Verse 27, then they shall be safe in their land, and they shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have broken the bands of their yoke and delivered them. There's another word, deliver, like yasha or save, that is used especially of the Exodus time, from the hand of those who enslave them. In the end, verse 28 to 31, they shall no longer be a prey for the nations, but they shall dwell safely, and no one shall make them afraid. But notice how it ends. Thus they shall know that I, Yahweh their God, am with them, and they, the house of Israel, are my people, says the Lord God. You are my flock, the flock of my pasture. You are men, and I am your God, says the Lord. Well, it's interesting to me, this kind of a story, and you can see where this is going to go in the New Testament, that the instrumentality of how God will do something that he promises he will do. I will save my people. But then in the next breath, he says, I will do it by David. Of course, he means someone who is filling in the role of David. So notice just again how this will work and how easily this will fit into the New Testament message of who Jesus is. That God will be claiming to do something on his own, but he will do it through the instrumentality of a human being who will do the very work that God intends to do. In the end, what is the great purpose of this is that these people will know that Yahweh is the God of gods.